Hi everyone, I am going to do a reading, a quick one on Madeleine McCann today. Disclaimer, this for intent purposes only. So over the last week, what I understand, I don't know until when it is, they are doing a new search in Portugal, okay? Madeleine McCann is probably one of the world's most famous stories of a British girl who went with her family, or family went with Maddie, who was, is it 5 at the time? 3, sorry, at the time, I believe. And she had 2 siblings that were only a year old. This was back in 2007. Sorry if I've not got the ages right. I've done some readings of her totally psychic channeling. She is not the most forthcoming energy because she wants to stay silent on what happened. She's very a shy, recluse kind of energy and doesn't want to point fingers. So in my readings, you will know that I believe the younger boy of the 2 twins, she was very much connected to him. I feel like she does surround that boy quite often, probably both of them, but there's something about the boy sibling especially. I don't know if he also woke up that night and she just sort of tried to, while she was in a daze, she kind of, maybe he woke up, that woke her up, and she tried to say it's okay. I don't know what their names are, but for now, his name's not Daniel, but I am getting the name Daniel coming through to me for some reason. And well, some people believe it's an abduction. Some people believe it was the parents, and I believe it was an accident. And you know who I believe. I also believe the way she was hidden and then got rid of is moved, which I mean, like, she was put in water. That water's either moved her to a more kind of more shallow water where there's a concave, or there's a nesting. I've described it in my readings, or she was moved there. Okay, so these are the areas that I do get for her. So that is what surrounds her. I do understand why, I don't know what psychics are saying, but I do understand why some psychics might say an abduction or going with that whole theory, because I do see the energy of a child predator in that area, and I do see, for some reason, like a yellow caravan was standing out to me. I think it's ridiculous regarding Christian Brooker. I don't believe he is involved in this at all. I don't believe he took Maddie. I don't believe he did anything to Maddie. I believe what happened to Maddie, the parents know. And 1 minute. Sorry, I just let the dog out because he wanted to come in and sit, and then he sat on my lap while I did the intro, and then he wanted to go out. So he'll probably go for a wander and then he'll be out the door again. So, and it's funny, while I'm saying this, I was okay, but my throat is closing up and I feel quite suffocated, as if I'm struggling to talk, and it's kind of giving pressure up my head, but so much pain in my throat. So we will continue, but it seems like not to be spoken on. Remember, disclaimer, this for intent purpose only. So I've mentioned in my readings prior that it's always a joke that the UK either find news to latch onto twice a year, because that's when they get the injection of the monies. We have surpassed 13.5 million alone to the Met Police. This is not other finances, which I believe has reached to about 20 million. Plus, I have given exact figures in my previous readings. And so this is, what is it going to bring? It's going to bring hoaxers along that say they saw what happened or whatever, because people want a piece of the pie, people want to be involved. I did see that a few days ago, or a couple of days ago, that somebody, a priest, was on a guy. I don't know if his channel's called Dan, but something Dan, and he was saying the parents deserve closure. The parents, I think, public deserve closure. I think we need to stop spending on this case out of all due respect, and I think Maddie needs to be found so she can rest in peace. And I do think that if the brother went for Akashic records or hypnosis, he is going to be able to understand what happened. Obviously they might have been told, but they might not have been. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. This disclaimer for entertainment purposes only. So we're going to get hoaxes that come forward that I tried telling the police this or that. And the energy, what I was telling you is that when she did get rid, when there was a get rid, and Mason energy is, if you've not seen my readings, watch that. And I believe this is why there's a closing of my throat chakra as well. And that's why I believe when I was doing the readings, there's a darkness energy, because I do believe it was an accident. But I believe the whole whatever ritual they do while they were doing a goodbye, not an evil goodbye, because they did love their daughter, but it's kind of sealment, and there is a red thread somewhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, so I don't believe, so we've got the UK that do that, and then we've got the German police. When this came out about Christian Bruckner, I also did a read. Absolute joke. They want, so let's put Christian Bruckner and then let's find the evidence. So suspect first, evidence later, as opposed to evidence and then the suspect. This is what scares you about the justice system and the court system and everything, especially when there becomes figures and stuff that you need to hit to in the justice system. And so injustices happen and people's lives are taken in such systems, and just disgusting. Not that I'm speaking for Christian Bruckner, but this could have been anyone, right? So for now, I just want to pull cards, and I'm going to show you that cards. And I do believe that she was taken in that rent-a-car. Okay. Does anyone know the star signs of the parents? And I do believe that there was a bang to her head. Okay, so Spirit wants me to go through a bit of a story before getting to the point. There's lies in this case, and I'll get to that in a minute. So there was definitely agreement to go out, but there was an issue here. Okay, there was someone was feeling quite left out in the cold, all right, and there was an argument that evening. There was a conflicting energy on what should we do with our time, and should we go out, should we not. Then there was a plan for looking after the kids, looking over the kids. What can we do? There was an early plan, a discussion and what can we do in the evening. This is what really brought the tumbling of, we need to cover that, of this, you know, Maddie's life, right? This is where the significance of what actually changed and brought what was done, what happened to Maddie. We get a Sagittarius energy, okay? And actually, look, there's the head bang, okay, that I mentioned, okay. She was born in May. Was she a Taurus? But what is her parents? That's why I asked. Got the Queen of Cups in reverse, so definitely, yep, okay. And then we've got the Five of Wands, where, you know, we've got trouble on our hands. What do we need to do? We've got 5 people sat there. Definitely love for Maddie, a loss of a loved one, and that's the Dove of Peace, okay. Gone too soon is what I get with this card. Don't ask me why, because I asked, I want cards if Maddie's alive. When I ask these questions, and psychically and 100% I kind of know, Spirit doesn't always give me the direct cards, because it's kind of like, you don't need to confirm this sort of stuff. So, but what I'm getting this is, was it gone too soon that I just said? I forgot what I was channeling, okay. And this is a disapproval energy. This is a disapproval of what occurred, all right, and a separation. For some reason, I'm getting these things just coming to me right now, so I'm just saying to you, that's the turn of events. That is the turn of the events. And I don't know why with this I'm getting the brothers energy. So I don't know if they were born in Leo season, but I am getting the brothers energy in here. This is where we get the lies, okay. It happened while they were outside, and I'm going to pull cards from this deck now, because Spirit was saying, you know, while I was shuffling the tarot, to use these cards. So tell me where we know in the world we'll find a suspect and then look for the evidence. Okay, so this can be an accident. It's happened, but it's not been intentional, and that's why the cover-up. Lies. Interesting. Now, in my channelings, if you remember, I said about in the Masons that it seemed like there was a ranking and there's someone that needed to do something for a ranking. He did not do this, but it seems like there was an awareness of their travel plan to Portugal, and I think there was also aid in removing and hiding this subject matter, the person we're talking about, okay. Clean up, which, yeah. Oh, the cards just fell, 1 second. I can see the strangulation card. Depth, okay. With the depth, I do think that the reason I feel like this holiday they took was because they were not going through a good phase in life, not money wise, but I think there was kind of like, we need to just get away, make sure we come back together as in our marriage or something. Okay. And I think that is the debt is what they've got to live with because of what's happened. um, the power supply could be significant in terms of a landmark of whereabouts she is, and I believe they're looking on land as opposed to in water. Celebrity, well, it's definitely got the fame around this case, and we have a revenge here. We have a revenge card. These are not very healthy cards, but revenge is very interesting, and we have the drugs and poison. I feel like with the revenge, it's talking about like ego. Okay. So this could be like anyone who talks about this, then a case is brought up against them, or revenge. And we do know that in my readings, you know, I said there's, what's that when you're not allowed to ask people questions about something or interview them. There's a special word where the justice system protects certain people of that. So that is what I'm getting there. Now I do want to ask one final question. Let's see what we get. Love to know if the siblings are born in July, August time. I think a Leo energy is very significant in this. Okay. Will any of her remains be found? Yes. Okay. It's going to actually be from a perspective where they're not wanting to look. So where they're not playing a game that we're going to look for Maddie, etc. Is from that perspective. It's actually an event that takes, it's like someone's going, but it's not for that purpose. It's an event that takes a different turn because something is found which relates to that. And that's my confirmation that something of her remains will be found. Now, how this could be, we get the opposite to waiting and planning. So this could, and we get a Nine of Pentacles, which is through money. It's not actually going to be through the investment of the money that's getting poured into this case. I feel like it's going to be a stumbling upon it, or if they do a search on something else, they stumble on it, or they do a search, but it's not the way they're doing it right now, where they're looking for her, but they have a particular agenda. But I feel like it's actually different to that. I don't think it's them actually looking for her specifically. And it's kind of like not waiting on it either. And this might not be one person, that it's like maybe there's a couple of people that are there, or it's one person, because we've got the two in reverse. Told to look at the bottom of the deck, the heartbreak card, and split the deck, feeling left out in the cold. All right, the loss, the heartbreak still remains. So one last question. Okay. How are they feeling about the search? And as I was repeating that, it changed to how are they feeling right now. So how are they feeling about the search? They're feeling, this is the same card that came out earlier. I don't think it's going to be positive. They don't feel like something is going to be found from what I'm seeing. And when I ask for that, they don't think something's going to be found. They think it's still going to be kept a secret, which takes me back to the way the goodbye was for her. This gives me like, they're not necessarily looking in the right direction. So they're not worried about it too much, but there is still a grieving of loss. Okay. At the same time, they're kind of looking at something from a victim mentality. So I don't know if they're going to try and get out, like, you know, we need closure, we've had this loss, we, you know, our lives were ruined, etc., as opposed to the honest truth. Here we've got the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So again, looking for something, not finding it. So to me, it looks like they clearly know that they're not going to find her. It seems like they also get informed of anything that's going to go ahead before it goes ahead. It seems like they are informed from maybe the Met Police, whoever. I want to say communities, but it's not communities, but whoever's involved in this. It seems like they get the news of like what is going to happen next if they're aware. But yeah, UK, stop throwing money that people need. Okay, people struggling, people homeless, people don't have money, job market's rueful, on this case where you're not even there on the grounds to look for it, bringing out news, okay, including GB News. And the Germans, you don't look for a suspect and then look for the evidence. Do whatever you want with sicko, right? But not pinning crimes that are not him. Did the parents do this? Did the parents know what's happened? I wanted the major arcana, any major arcana. First card out, just so you all know. So that's our short reading on Madeleine McCann. I think I covered what we basically, just to touch base on what we need to know. I am not sure what other psychics. I think there might be a mix of psychic. But like I said, there's that energy of not a good person in the area. It's interesting because that Fool card stands out to me. It is the card, but it seems like it's also telling me a life stolen too quick before she could even have the venture of life, the adventure of life. And if she was 3, which I think it is 3, that makes sense. I'm also thinking of that Fool card, which seems to tell me there wasn't enough attention paid on what the dogs actually found, especially one dog. that would have said the cadaver dog, not the blood. The cadaver dog, although there would have been blood because of the head, from what I gather, but not so much that. I want to mention the cadaver dog in terms of death is the dog that I see there, and the card is in reverse because they should have listened to that dog, and they would have solved the case there and then. The cadaver dog of both of them, but death was very important, and the case wouldn't have been upside down like it is, the reversal card. Yeah, that's everything that needs to be channeled through that card. Okay, everyone, so I hope I covered everything. You know, in my psychic predictions, I've mentioned about the amount of children that are going to be coming to the forefront. These cases are going to be bringing to the forefront. Yeah. Take care and stay blessed. Bye for now.